everyone, it's your friend Think Noodles, and welcome to Ask Think episode number 150 for Monday, April 20th, 2015. 150 episodes, and right before I started this, I was going over the episode number in my head, and I realized that episode number 156 marks 3 years of Ask Think, of me doing it every single Monday for 3 years. I think I might have missed one Monday, but I did it like again on Tuesday. It's not like I missed a whole week. Anyway, so guys, last week I asked you if you could make a video game, describe your video game, name it, that sort of thing, and tell me a little bit about it. So the first one is from Mark Whittle, and it says, I would have a game called Baconzilla, where there's a big Godzilla made out of bacon, and you had to shoot him with big fat pigs in a bacon launcher. And I have to say that a lot of this stuff was somewhat random. Some of the suggestions were really, really good. You guys have crazy, amazing imagination. So the Cybe 620 said, I would make a video game where you start out as a little robot in a factory. As you beat stronger robots and even bosses, you can gain better parts. The bosses will get harder, the levels will get longer as you progress. You can customize what the parts look like, and you would defeat it or beat it by defeating all the bosses from earlier stages in a final stage, which is pretty specific and quite a good idea. Katya Morhan said, if I could make a game, it would be about how you're a bird and you're left home alone out of your cage. I really like this one. This would be a good, free indie game. Anyway, your goal is to cause as much destruction as possible, like eating fruit, chewing on window blinds. I've had personal experience with that one. Arrow keys to walk, hold down space to fly, and then use mouse to control the direction you fly in. You also use the mouse to look around, right click to drop a little surprise on whatever you're sitting on. There'd be a 5-minute timer, and when the timer ends, if you haven't gotten back to your cage and closed it, you know how. Your owners get back and you get a game over. If you manage to successfully get back and close your cage behind you, you win, and the owners are really confused. So like she said, I think she said she has personal experience with some of these things. So I imagine this happened to her before, and she imagined what it would be like to play a game where she was her own bird, and I love that idea. Jess, the gamer, said, if I made a game, it would be a platform game about a mother bunny rabbit trying to find all of her little baby bunnies, and she would go to different places like forests and fields and even underground. Throughout the game, she would collect carrots, kind of like coins, and cabbages. The cabbages give you a clue to where the baby bunnies are, and at the end, she would find all of her baby bunnies, and you would see them all reunited, snuggling together. Oh, that's really cute. Alexander Baggio said, my name would just be called Minion Attack, where Kevin and Dave attack me, and the lab blows up. Doesn't sound like a fun game on my end. Carlos11 says, my game, well, don't say I'm disturbed. Animals and humans now live in harmony. There's also monsters, and then slowly humans start to be racist to the animals. Well, not necessarily racist, but yeah, okay. And the animals now live in jail and have to escape because all of a sudden bacon starts showing up again. Not really sure where bacon comes in, but so they have to fight the humans because animals get sick of the treatment. And that's actually really cool, and you must be an animal lover, because, yeah, you know, everyone lives in harmony, but people start mistreating animals, and you have to be the animals and get or escape and sort of reclaim your place convince the humans that animals don't need to be mistreated. Colonel Duck says, I'd make a game called Save the Ducklings. Figures. In the game, 2 teams play against each other and try to take ducklings back to their base. Every duckling will be in different points of the map. The players will be ducks. Then they try to shoot eggs at each other to kill the enemy team. The first team with all 5 ducklings would win. Mostly be a team game. And this is actually a really cool idea as well. But I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be ducklings, but of course, with the username it did. Matthew Bench said, if I made a game, it would be called the Think Noodle Simulator 2015. It would be a sim of you. It would start of you trying to make the normal Think Noodles account. Then you would have to make it Insiders Network. Man, I regret that one. Anyway, GamerGirl29 says, if I could make a game, it would be called The Adventures of Cuties, the Evil Cupcake. Because once I went to a pastry shop, there's really good cupcakes, and of course I had to try one. The frosting was kiwi flavored and the middle was lime flavored. Ever since then, I called the cupcakes cuties, and I want to warn everyone about evil cupcakes. So I'm not really sure if you're saying that you didn't like that cupcake. I'm not sure how I would like the cupcake. I'm trying to put it together, but evil cupcakes are hilarious. Lauren Tawoa says I would make a game called Food Frenzy. And the point is you're trying to get to the refrigerator and get food to make a meal. But their obstacles are like mean chef robots and lasers with ketchup sprays and rotten cheese. Someone needs to clean the refrigerator. The game gets harder as the level goes up. At the end of the stage, there's a bunch of stages and levels in the stages. You put all the food you got and make a meal out of it. Yummy. Since I love food, of course I would make a game about food. Emma kindly said if I could make a game, I would make a horror game called Portrait. In the game, you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't go back to sleep. So you go downstairs, but when you get downstairs, your house is like a maze and it keeps changing from mazes to back to your house to some scary place. The reason I would name it Portrait is because you have a portrait of a young girl in your room and the portrait seems to be everywhere. And every time you see it, it's looking in a different direction because it always looks at something that will be important later. The portrait is like the center of everything that happens in the game too. Wow, so creative. And I feel like the first part is like a dream you had one time. And then you integrate it into a game. And I love that the portrait is, centralized with the title and everything. Really, really creative. The Maddie is a Psycho says, my game will be called The Game of Think, where you play as a Think Noodles and try to evolve your YouTube career. For example, like The Sims, you have to do actions such as make video and then choose what kind of video Thinks Lab, Ask Think, etc. will come up, and each will have a different time span because obviously those take longer to record or whatever. Then something will come up and say edit, and which will take a very long time for your Think to do. But if you don't edit your video, it might not be a success. Again, like The Sims, you will also have needs. So if you choose to edit, they'll continue to go down and you could end up sleeping on your keyboard, or as happened in my previous Sims episode, you be yourself. Mint Does Minecraft said if I made a game, it'd be called Think Noodles Delivery. You play as a noodle delivery guy called Justin who delivers noodles to his New York neighborhood. However, you've got to avoid cars, bald dog frogs. Yes, I've been here that long. And Kevin's experiments. If you're lucky, you can come across a Kobe power-up, which will call Kobe to you and increase your speed for like 30 seconds. In the last level, you deliver noodles to the minions at Think's lab and Kevin blows the whole lab up. You then wake up and realize that you actually make videos on YouTube, and thank goodness it was a dream. Very, very creative. So guys, I actually didn't even think of my own game. Like I got to the end here and I was thinking about all your good ideas and I can't even think of anything. I'm so on the spot right now. And I and your ideas were so much better than anything I can come up with. So I'll just come up with a question for next week. And it's a super rainy day out right now. It's gray and it's supposed to rain all day. Blah. So why don't we do something related to that? And okay. I'll ask the question and then I'll tell you what you can't answer. So it's what's your favorite thing to do on a rainy day? Now you cannot answer watch Think Noodles, watch Think's Lab, watch. Okay, let's just say anything YouTube related, not allowed. Okay, so you can't say I watch YouTube, I watch Minecraft videos. It's got to be something else. It can't have anything to do with YouTube or me. So I just wanted to make it so that there's I guarantee you if I hadn't said that, a lot of people would have watch Think Noodles, whatever, or watch YouTube, watch Minecraft videos on YouTube, something like that. So yeah, be really specific too. So if you say, I don't know. I was gonna say be specific if you say, oh, I play Minecraft, but then be specific about what you build or what you'd want to do. But then like, I don't know. That would be really specific, and then the next rainy day you couldn't do the same thing you did the last time. I guess you could, be creative with it, and also say why. So you'd say, oh, I play for example, it'd be like, well, on a rainy day I really like to play Minecraft because in Minecraft I can do /toggle downfall and make it not rain, which I wish I could do in real life, something like that. All right, guys, before we get to the questions, I want to remind you to leave your question in the comments below so I can have something to answer next week. Remember, only one question per comment, but you can leave as many comments as you like. Also, if the comments on this Ask Think are closed, go to the most recent Ask Think and ask your question there. Now on to the questions. And the first one, I'm not going to say their name because, I don't know, they might get some hate for this. But if you guys remember, someone had put like, the golden age, the dark age, whatever. Someone put this about Things Lab, and it upset me a little bit because I know a lot of people are like this, and I want to explain to you what goes into a Things Lab. So it says camping trip shrink ray episode, golden era of Things Lab, and I thought, oh, really like those episodes. And then Mission Impossible Speedo episode, dark boring era of Things Lab, and I was like, wow, my Mission Impossible episode was super fun to do, and people really liked it. And then he said, because you need to write more on your comment to get a minion. Now, minion generator, present horrible, terrible era of Things Lab, because Think uses Kevin's new machine to generate the newest minion at the end of each episode. And then it says, man, I miss the old Things Lab. I think he should just put the name of the minion on the comment and do the newest minion at the beginning of each lab episode like he used to. And this, really hurts. And I'll tell you why. You guys know I did the minion generator at the end because I still want to feature you guys in the video, and it's still the same. You still get the same amount of time and all that stuff, and you still get your comments on the video, but it was always interrupting the storyline, and I always felt that it was an annoyance. For you guys, you'd be like, oh, cool, they're going to go to the city. Oh, wait, right, we have to wait for the minion to do that. Okay, now they're going to the city. And I like doing it at the end when I'm doing my outro anyway, because I can go through the whole story end to end without interrupting it, and it sort of flows better. Now, the part that's upsetting to me is that all this person cares about is the minion naming. Doesn't care about the plot at all. There's not a mention about the plot at all. And I work really, really, really hard on these videos. I mean, Things Lab takes between an hour and a half and 3 hours to record, depending on the video. It's mostly in the 2 hour range to record. And, it takes about an hour to 2 hours to prep. Then, an hour and a half to 3 hours to record. And then anywhere from 3 to 6 hours of editing. It takes me a full day to do a Things Lab episode. And all this person probably watches for is the minion. Fast forwards to the end to see the minion, and he doesn't want to move his mouse very far. He'd rather just move it a couple minutes into the video rather than move it to the end or something. I don't know, but these types of comments are the kind that make me want to remove the minion naming entirely from Things Lab. I'm not going to, guys, and don't worry, I'm not saying that. I'm even thinking about that. But when I see comments like this that are just about the minion and getting your name or their name in the video, really hurts my feelings and makes me feel like the effort I put into Things Lab is absolutely worthless. So, please don't. It's tough. But there's nothing I can do. That's really all some people care about. But I really, really hope that you guys don't feel that way about Things Lab. You guys don't feel that way about Ask Think, where you're just, that was the best Ask Think because my question was in it, rather than that was a great Ask Think because I loved your answers. You did a lot of work on this, something like that. I guess I can't win them all. And I'm sorry this was so long about this question, guys. It really, really bothered me when I read it. Kim Pai asks, what was the first movie that actually made you cry? I mean, that I can remember. Now, I don't know, maybe when I was 4, I watched a scary movie and it made me cry. But the first movie I can remember making me cry was Old Yeller. And that's actually, I think it's a Disney movie, but it's really sad because it's a dog and you love the dog, and then something happens to the dog at the end. I won't spoil it for those who haven't seen it. And if you love dogs, probably not something you really want to watch. Boomer Boxer Real asks, why are you saying in the chat you're not there, you're not Think Noodles? And I think they're referring to the gameplay on the last one, and I like to play around with people when they say, "Oh, it's Think Noodles," and I'm like, "Where?" And I like to play around. The funny thing is, there's the other half of that, in that people see me and they see the YouTuber tag and they see the name, and then they say, "That isn't him. I swear that's not him." and you might have seen in the chat that I was saying, okay, if you think that, go ahead and watch Ask Think today if you don't think I'm real. Minecrafter Power asks, is there a Chinatown in New York City? And if so, do you live in one? Yes, there is. There's actually, well, at least that I can think of, there's 3. There's probably more than that. There's one here in Manhattan, downtown, and then which is the original Chinatown in New York. There's one out in Brooklyn. It's not that big. But now, even though the one in Manhattan is the original Chinatown in New York, there's one in Flushing, which is in Queens, and I think that is the biggest Chinatown now, more so than here in Manhattan. Lily Darling asks, "Hi, Mr. Noodles. It seems in some of your most recent Ask Thinks you've been playing the lab in the background. Will that occur regularly, or will you still be doing different things like Hunger Games, Clash of Clans, etc.?" I just been playing the lab because I have a lot of fun playing it, but not necessarily all the time. Of course, I'll play random things. I haven't done the gameplay on this one yet, and I think I'm going to be doing some survival and maybe a little bit of minigames, because I have a lot to do to get to episode 200. Yeah, so I might be putting that in the background. Lily Darling asks, what do you usually do when you're done recording if you have time before your wife gets home? Well, when I'm done recording, I edit. And then when I'm done editing, I upload. But when that's all done, I immediately get up and go take Kofi for a nice long walk outside. Jberg44 Games asks, do you see many birds in New York? Yes, lots, every single day, although not much variety. We see little sparrows and lots of pigeons. And I saw a red-breasted robin the other day in the park, but you really don't see much other than those. I have seen in Madison Square Park, a hawk. And I think they do come around the city once in a while, big old birds. And they hang out in the parks looking for rats, maybe squirrels, I don't know. But I think there's plenty of rats for the hawks to eat. So Novacat asks, what was your job at Cisco? And this was a long time ago, guys, but I worked in service provider support as an engineer. And the way that it worked was various companies that were service providers like Verizon, there was a company called Genuity, Verizon Wireless. They're 2 separate companies if you didn't realize, or they were at the time. I don't know if they are anymore. AT&T, huge companies, AOL at the time, I think it was before the Time Warner acquisition, but anyway, they had purchased some of the backbone equipment for the internet, basically for the backbone of the internet, and it ran at gigabit speeds, which were super fast back then, and nowadays I think some people can even get that in their home, but these routers and switches would carry thousands of users' traffic across the internet on their proprietary networks. And when those things would go down for whatever reason, misconfiguration or hardware problems, they would run it through their support team internally. And when their support team couldn't figure it out or had determined that it was a hardware failure and it needed replacement, they would call us, and depending on the severity, numbers of users down, how long they've been down for, etc., it would come into our center on a priority level, priority 1 through 4. Priority 1 meant network fully down, all hands on deck, and it was really stressful. And we would try to reconfigure the network, or at least the routing protocols and things like that, IP address misconfigurations that someone had, mistakenly put a duplicate IP. Something simple like that can just pull an entire network down, or used to be able to. I mean, this was many years ago. But it was a high stress job because whenever you got there, these people had already been working on a problem for 2, 3, 4, sometimes, a full day. And they were already frustrated. They have thousands of users down and they want it fixed immediately. So yeah, that was the job I was in, and we were sort of the experts. It was really tough at the start because I didn't know that much, but there was always a team member with me on the calls, on the chats, and in the networks with me, helping me, guiding me through. So but it was really, really stressful and a really tough job. Big Izzy asks, how long have you lived in New York? Let me think. Well, in New York State, I think we have lived here. Let's see. I have lived here for about 12 years, I think now. Probably. Something like that. Yeah. Wait. Yeah, that's about, 10 to 12 years. In Manhattan, we've lived here for 7 years. Emma W. asks, have you ever had a different kind of pet than dogs? Of course. I had a Chinese water dragon. When I was a little kid, I had a grass snake that I didn't like very much. His name was Seymour, because I hate snakes. And my teacher, for some reason, they liked snakes, but for some reason they decided that they were going to give me a snake as a pet. I don't know why. I don't really remember. I guarantee you I didn't say I wanted it. But I remember I was probably like 9 years old. I guess probably 3rd, 4th grade, something like that. And they gave me, I think it was my teacher. I don't remember, but I remember Seymour, and I did not like him. He was a snake. Like, I think he died, but I don't like snakes. But I also had an outdoor cat back when I had Seymour, named Bozo, after Bozo the Clown. And other than that, though, not too many. Speaking of cats, Emmanuel French asks, have you ever seen a tiger before, and where? Well, you see them a lot in New York. It's a pretty common pet here, and tigers, they really need a lot of exercise. So you see a lot of people walking them because... No, not here. I have seen tigers before in like those little safari parks that you drive through. And in one of them in Indonesia, they have a tiger that's probably taken a lot of Benadryl. I'll just put it that way. So they're really, really sleepy and they don't like maul you. But yeah, they have full-size tigers that you can just, get a picture with. And I did one time, and I think I told this story before, but one thing that a lot of you guys know about me is that I'm allergic to cats. And when I took the picture and I put my arm around the tiger's neck and everything and, cuddled with it while I took a picture, tigers are cats. And tigers have dander just like a house cat. So about, 6 minutes and 32 seconds after taking the picture with the cat, my allergies my eyes started watering, my nose started running, my asthma kicked in because I had hugged a cat. Satavahana Patur says, my question is, how come your video quality is awesome while mine is bad and I use the same recording software? Why? One of the reasons that you may have bad quality in your editor, you're probably seeing great quality, and then when you export it, you're getting bad quality. And that's because of the bit rate that you're using to encode. Just raise the bit rate. So if you're doing Minecraft videos at 30 frames per second, I'd recommend that you use at least, for me, and I'm a little bit crazy, if you're doing 1080p, I'd say minimum 10,000 kbps. Some other people will tell you less, but I'm really, really focused on quality. If it's 720p, you can probably get away with, I would only get away with 7,500. You could probably get away with 5,000 and not notice much of a difference. But if your bitrate's down in the 2,000 or even 1,200, because that's the default on some programs, it is going to look bad. Generator360 asks, did people ever make fun of you because of your asthma? What advice do you have? Because I'm running track and I have a bad asthma. My growth spurt hasn't happened yet and I've been getting bullied. Not really. They didn't. I always worried that they would, and I always tried to hide it, and I was really ashamed of it. And even to this day, like, I'm embarrassed to use my inhaler in public. I know people don't care, but I feel like they do, and like they'll judge me or something, and it's something that's completely out of my control, but I'm still ashamed of it. But I mean, it's good that you're running track and being active as much as you can. But you're just gonna have to wait it out. I'm so sorry. Carson Smith asks, I've got my school play coming up in 2 weeks, Beauty and the Beast, and I'm the lead role. I've been getting really nervous I'm gonna mess up, or someone else messes up and we're gonna be embarrassed. You ever get nervous before a video? If so, how do you get over it? Well, first of all, congratulations on the lead role, and I assume you're Belle. But I don't really get nervous before videos anymore. I can't think of the last time I was nervous in a video. But that said, I've done, almost 2,000 videos. So, that's really, that's really not fair. Because this is maybe your first time being in a school play. Maybe probably your first time as the lead. And of course you're going to be nervous. Back in my first probably 500 videos, I was still nervous before videos, especially if I was in a video with someone I'd never been in a video with before, or someone who was a bigger YouTuber than me, things like that. And, I didn't really get over it. I just went with it. And as I went through the video, I got more comfortable. And now I'm so comfortable in making videos that I just don't get nervous anymore because of experience. Ryan Monaghan asks, will you ever arrange a map or just a straight up survival series with Dan or James? Well, we've sort of talked about it. I mean, just really briefly with James, actually. I don't think that we talked about it with Dan. It was just a Skype chat with James. And he sort of said, when or if Pixelmon itself runs its course, we should definitely parlay that into another SMP sort of series with the three of us, because we're all really good friends, and we all have our own style and creative take, but we're all super family friendly, so that works really well. And we all have our own schedules and things like that, but it works. And he was like, if and when it runs its course, I think we should do another sort of server together. And I think that's what you mean by a straight up survival series. It's just a vanilla server together. And maybe an adventure map. I don't know. But it's really, really hard because our schedules are so different to do them together, all three of us, at the same time on a Skype call or something. Seg H both 001 asks, when you first made your YouTube channel, did you think you'd be a YouTuber who posts every day? Not initially, obviously, because I was doing Club Penguin stuff in the beginning, and really, as you guys know, Club Penguin only updates on Thursdays, once a week. So what I would do is have a couple of videos, and I would span them from Thursday to Friday, maybe Saturday if I had enough videos. But then there would be nothing from, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because there was nothing to really talk about, because I'd already covered the new stuff. So no, I didn't, because originally I created it, and that was one of the reasons that I made it Insiders Network, right? Because I thought, okay, well, Club Penguin only posts once a week. Then if I had Webkins on there, maybe I could get a couple more videos because they update on Wednesdays, so I could start that on Wednesday. That'd give us another day. And then, I figured that I could leverage my other websites and information from those, and maybe if I'm lucky, get enough to post every day. Because I knew that was important for my blogs, was to have information and new stuff every day. It would have been important for my YouTube channel, but I couldn't think of how I would possibly do it with the theme I had going. Cameron LS, what was your first ever logo, think? And, well, here it is. You guys can see it, and it's like a globe, like a digital globe with an eye in the middle, and you guys are like, dude, what does that have to do with Think Noodles? I don't understand. Well, as you guys probably know, because if you click certain links on YouTube, it goes to my actual channel URL. And I have the /c/Think Noodles, and then there's /user/Insiders Network, which was my actual username on YouTube, and I can't change it. And that might give you an idea why there is a world with an I on it. That is I for insiders, and then the network would be the globe and with the digital, with the ones and zeros behind it. That was my first logo ever for this channel. It was the Insiders Network. Furious Gaming asks, will you ever do speed builds for The Sims 4, and if you are, when? I have no idea what that means. Does that mean like they have a creative mode? Well, actually, I know they have a creative mode, but I assume that's what you mean, is that you would want me to do like creative mode speed builds for homes in The Sims 4. I don't see how that would really fit into my series because, I'm scrounging for money. I'm trying to make it realistic. So I don't think I'm going to be doing that very soon. The Real Austinian asks, will you ever grow up Kevin and Dave in The Sims 4? Well, okay, so I have to admit to something. When I first started the game, well, I don't know when I first started the game. After the first episode of The Sims, I went in, and it's a confession, guys. I went into The Sims and I enabled cheats for a second, and I entered the no aging cheat. And then I exited. I didn't cheat any money. You can check and see between the episodes. The money hasn't changed, anything like that. But yeah, I enabled it so that none of my Sims age. That way, Kevin and Dave aren't really going to grow up because we do this once a week and only one day is passing. I don't know how quickly they age anyway, but I like them as my kids. And I also like that I'm still alive because if I let my Sims age, eventually I'm going to get old and die. And I don't want to die. Stephanie Chan asks, in The Sims 4, are you going to propose to your wife? I thought you said you would in one of the episodes. Absolutely. I'm not 100% sure the way that goes, the progression. I think I have to do something else first before I propose to her. And I'm kind of putting it off a little bit. Because, I think you know why if you play The Sims. CJI says, hey, Think, with this new Fan Choice Friday, would you play games like Goat Simulator or Turbo Dismount again if people want you to continue with them? Yes. Not right away because, there's a lot of other games. I've only played a couple so far, well, 3. So I wouldn't go back to one of those right now, but definitely because I had a lot of fun playing Turbo Dismount. I had a lot of fun playing Goat Simulator. Definitely want to play them again. For example, Goat Simulator, I'd like to try the MMO part of it. So definitely going to see it again, but I probably would do in maybe a couple of months, maybe 2-3 months, go back, look at which episodes have the most likes, the most views, and the most attention, and see and look at the comments on the newer ones and see how many people want which ones, and then revisit the most popular ones. Harry Zhang asks, how come you uploaded Road to Captain Noodles before your walkthrough like you normally do for Tropicon Part 3? Tropicon Part 3 was a little bit different because it came out the Thursday afternoon, evening before I left for vacation. So when I came back into town on Sunday night, that next Monday, I played through and did the Road to Captain Think Noodles. But I had so much stuff to catch up on. I had an Ask Think to do. I had all kinds of stuff. My parents were in town still because they take care of Kopi. So I didn't have a lot of time. So all I could do was do the Road to Captain Think Noodles. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do the walkthrough tomorrow. And then I was like, but you know what? I'll put out the Road to Captain Think Noodles today because I hadn't done the walkthrough. Usually what I do is I do Road to Captain Think Noodles and immediately log back in and record the walkthrough while it's still fresh in my head. But I didn't this time. And because I just didn't have the time for it. And then so I put up the Road to Captain Think Noodles that day, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it on Tuesday. And then on Tuesday came, I was like, oh, I don't have time for this. I can't do this. And then Wednesday, and then Thursday. So I finally did on Friday. So that's why it's just an unusual circumstance. Almost every single time, this is the first time, and actually, it would have been timed correctly, but it's the first time I've gone on vacation and missed an island, although it did come out before I left. So technically I didn't. Epic Dragon Warrior asks, I was thinking, are you ever going to make a Think Slab song? It would be awesome. Also, you're a great singer. And Seg H both says he's making a parody video with Kevin in it, not necessarily Think Slab. Well, okay. First of all, I'm not a good singer. Second, Seg H both is kind of right. I am making a parody video. The song's done. It's been done for I don't know, 4 months now. And it is about Thinks Lab, not just Kevin. But the animator is still working on it. We'll see it this summer, I'm sure. He's a student like a lot of you guys. So, in the beginning, there was a lot of modeling and rigging and things like that. So that was the slow part. And it's moving along now. Mastermind Dude M asks, guess what? The Swimming Thinks Lab was the 1-year anniversary of Thinks Lab, and the Minion Bass Strike was Kevin's lab anniversary. Why nothing special? You're not quite correct on that. Well, actually, the 1-year anniversary one was the cake and ice cream one, and it was literally called the 1-year anniversary party, where I gave you guys the resource pack. And obviously, Kevin's lab anniversary was, it was pretty recent. It was two of them go. It was like 4 days ago or something. That's why I moved it to. This Thursday, because April 16th was Kevin's anniversary in the lab, and I did Kevin's movie. So yeah, I celebrated both special occasions. The next couple of people suggest something that I've seen quite a bit, and it's if you're gonna do a new modded survival thing, do Diamond Dimensions. And I've not really looked at all the mods in Dan's mod pack. But I could never do that, guys, and it's not because I don't like Dan, because I love Dan, but I would get just destroyed in the comments for copying him. Absolutely destroyed. So I totally couldn't do that. I'm sorry. Chicken Gamer asks, do you know how to customize Lucky Blocks? Yes, I do. If you look back to the Lucky Blocks Redux, where I redid the commercial with Kevin, I customized the blocks to look a little differently, and you can also edit the config file to make custom Lucky Blocks do different things. It's not really that hard. The Real Austinian asks, do your minions ever despawn? Mine do. No, mine don't, because when I create them, I make them named and also invulnerable, so they don't swim in lava. But there's a couple of ways that you can make them not despawn. When you summon them, if you're using the spawn egg, they probably will still despawn unless you use a name tag on them and name them. Otherwise, if you don't want them named and you just want minions running around, if you summon them with the, I think it's just persistent. Yeah, I think it's persistent:1 tag. It will keep them and they won't despawn. Epic Dragon Warrior asks, will you ever upgrade your lab even more awesome like your other past videos when you upgraded it more? Well, that's up to Jack Attaway. And why don't you guys send him a tweet and, with like a hashtag upgrade the lab or something like that. His Twitter name is @JackAddaway. Jack Attaway. I don't know. I feel like pestering him anyway. But he's a good guy. But he's in school like you guys, so he doesn't have a lot of time to build. Zayn Ali asks, this is going to be so funny when he gets those tweets. Anyway, Zayn Ali asks, how did you get Dave's computer to look like a real computer? That's just a texture pack, because if you notice, that's just a painting on that sign there. So yeah, it's just one of the 1x1 paintings that I include in my resource pack. The Flaming Cabbage asks, in Thinks Lab, when you get down to the lab and you're going up again, how do you do that? Is it editing or a redstone elevator? Neither. What it is behind that emerald block where the button is a command block. And the command is just a TP command that TPs me directly to that location. XX Crazycraft XX asks, when you voice Kevin in Thinks Lab, before you add the pitch change, you just talk regular, or do you talk high pitched like him? I don't really necessarily, I don't intend to talk high pitched like him, but what I do is I kind of baby talk. So, the one that comes to mind, because people quote it all the time, is the McFlurry one. And I make it so that when I am voicing Kevin, I try not to pronounce things very well. So, for example, when I did that voice, I didn't say, McFlurry, like that. I went, my burry. So yeah, there it is. I do make it a little bit higher, and I just try not to pronounce anything correctly. So, you know, or in the most recent one where I was calling myself, I would say, think, which is, I guess, higher than I would normally speak, but not like, think. Oh my goodness. Oh, I hope I didn't break anyone's eardrums with that. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of Ask Think, and it is a super long one. I guess that's kind of special for episode 150. Anyway, if you don't forget to leave your question in the comments below so I can have something to answer next week, guys. I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching, and of course, Noodle Line.